Kingdom Hearts is a video game series that has touched many hearts, including mine. Its unique story, exciting combat, and sometimes surreal atmosphere allowed it to become a truly memorable experience. It seems, however, that there is a scarcity of people exploring the thematic and symbolic content hidden within the game. I believe that Kingdom Hearts has a lot of meaning that is waiting to be uncovered, and that we can learn from its various parallels to analytical psychology and mythology. One of the core themes in Kingdom Hearts is light versus darkness. It is only normal for a story of this nature to parallel core concepts in Jungian psychology, more specifically the concept of the shadow and the self. Together we will explore the shadow archetype and its role in the Kingdom Hearts universe, as well as within our own lives. In the field of study known as comparative mythology, it is found that across time there are countless similarities between the different myths and religions of the world. These similarities exist despite cultures having absolutely no influence on one another. Carl Jung is a psychoanalyst who studied these similarities and believed that their existence is due to an innate and unspecific knowledge that all of humanity possess. He named this the collective unconscious, and within it exist the archetypes.
At the time, a myth is played in the unconscious, a myth that extends over centuries, namely archetypal ideas, a stream of archetypal ideas that goes on through one individual, through the centuries.
In the same way a bird is able to instinctually build a nest despite not ever seeing it be done, we too have these inherited patterns of thought which govern our conscious actions and day-to-day lives.
People, you see houses, you see the sky, you see tangible objects, but when you observe yourself within, you see moving images, a world of images, generally known as fantasies.
An archetype can be defined as an instinctual pattern of energy which exists in an abstract form within our unconscious mind. They are the building blocks of our psyche, and their existence can be observed in our lives as well as the stories we have told since the beginning of mankind. To Jung, these archetypes were no different from physical organs, in the sense that they formed over millennia, and that a dysfunctional archetype causes havoc in the psyche, in much the same way that a dysfunctional organ would cause havoc in the body. Man possesses many things which he has never acquired but has inherited from his ancestors. He is not born as a tabula rasa, he is merely born unconscious, but he brings with him systems that are organized and ready to function in a specifically human way, and these he owes to millions of years of human development. At the beginning of our existence, we can be seen as blank slates, which hold the innate potential to become anything. On the one end of the spectrum, you could reach a state of enlightenment, or holiness, whilst on the other end there's also the possibility of you becoming a monster. As we grow, we are molded by our environment, and we learn to accept thoughts and feelings that are deemed desirable by our family or society, and reject those which are not. These thoughts and emotions which we reject are not lost, but merely repressed into our subconscious. The shadow consists of all things of this nature. The friendship between Sora and Riku is an interesting one. Sora meaning sky and Riku meaning earth gives us the first hint into their opposing natures. While Sora follows his heart and tends to go with the flow, Riku is more grounded and acts with purpose and conviction toward his goals. This can be seen with how he uses the most efficient way to get what he wants despite it being morally questionable.
Hey! Let Pinocchio go, Riku!
A puppet that's lost its heart to the heartless. Maybe it holds the key to helping Kairi. How about it, Sora? Let's join forces to save her. We can do it together. What? You'd rather fight me? Over a puppet that has no heart?
Heart or no heart, at least he still has a conscience.
Conscience?
Unlike Sora, Riku does not possess the same capacity of intuition and ability to follow his heart to know what's right. This is the basis for his shadow and what causes him to lose himself to the darkness. Riku projects his shadow onto the outside world, and whilst he is trying his hardest to save Kairi, he believes that Sora has forgotten all about them.
Good to see you again.
Well, where are Donald and Goofy?
Are they that important to you? More important than old friends? Instead of worrying about them, you should be asking about her.
Kairi!
That's right. While you were off goofing around, I finally found her.
Not so fast. No shenanigans aboard my vessel, boy.
Riku, why are you siding with the Heartless?
Sora's nature results in him always helping those around him and forming strong connections with them. However, Riku only sees an individual who has forgotten his friends and is unable to save them. He views the heart as weak and arrogantly believes that his way is the only correct one.
What I said back there about thinking I was better at stuff than you? To tell you the truth, Sora, I was jealous of you.
What for?
I wished I could live life the way you do. Just following my heart.
I'm sure to some of you the thought of holding this darkness is truly terrifying. Most people live their lives never once acknowledging their shadow and continually repress the thoughts and emotions that cause discomfort. However, this way of living only turns out making things worse. By not being aware of having a shadow, you declare a part of your personality to be non-existent. Then it enters the kingdom of the non-existent, which swells up and takes on enormous proportions. If you get rid of qualities you don't like by denying them, you become more and more unaware of what you are. You declare yourself more and more non-existent, and your devils will grow fatter and fatter. The shadow can possess us at points in our life when we are most vulnerable and feel as though all hope is lost. Ericus was a well-respected Keyblade master who believed the light to be the world's only salvation. So much so that he was blinded by it. He feared the darkness to an unhealthy extent, and whilst he had good reason for this, the truth is that real life consists of a complex of inexorable opposites: day and night, birth and death, happiness and misery, good and evil. And to deny these opposites is to deny reality as well as human nature. Ericus was at his most vulnerable when he realized he could not stop the formation of the Keyblade. This desperation led him to take extreme measures. There's a certain irony to the advice he gives Terra, because in truth it was he who feared the darkness and was obsessed with gaining control over it. In reality though, we can never fully control what happens in life, and trying too hard to control our existence is sometimes the very thing which causes us to lose ourselves. The shadow is a living part of the personality, and therefore wants to live within it in some form. It cannot be argued out of existence or rationalized into harmlessness. This problem is exceedingly difficult because it not only challenges the whole man, but reminds him at the same time of his helplessness and ineffectuality. At his most vulnerable, Ericus felt as though he was losing control. He felt that the next Keyblade War was impending, and with it the darkness. His desperation to prevent this by any means led him to the vile attempt of killing his own student, Ventus.
I failed. I had the chance to stop him and couldn't do it. But I will not fail again!
Master, what do you...
The Keyblade has no place in this or any world. Xehanort has made his purpose clear, and I am left with no choice. Forgive me, but you must exist no more!
And in the end, even he acknowledges that his own art was darkness.
What have I done? Master, I just wanted to keep Ven safe.
No, you were right. I failed you, Terra. Perhaps I've no one to blame but myself for the darkness inside you. And now, I've done worse. Raised my keyblade against you and Ventus. My own heart is darkness.
A gentle and reasonable being can be transformed into a maniac or savage beast. One is always inclined to lay the blame on external circumstances, but nothing could have exploded within us if it had not already been there. So given that the shadow is something we cannot ignore and has immense capability for destruction, is there any hope for us to overcome it, or will it consume us and be the cause for our self-destruction?
Come on!
Stop staring and keep pushing! Huh?
I can't.
Don't give up! Come on, Sora! Together we can do it!
Okay.
The existence of the shadow is something we cannot escape or ignore, and as we have seen, this only leads to further chaos. Jung believed that the only way forward was to coexist with our shadow. Metaphorically, this means bringing our unconscious thoughts and emotions into the light of consciousness. This process is known as integrating the shadow, and it is important to keep in mind that this is no easy task. Following the events of the finale, Riku is left in a state of confusion and lack of direction. He is now fully aware of what exists within him and understands the damage it is capable of. This confrontation is the first test of courage on the inner way, a test sufficient to frighten off most people, for the meeting with ourselves belongs to the more unpleasant things that can be avoided so long as we project everything negative into the environment. Yet despite already coming face to face with his shadow, Riku still holds great fear toward it. Like most, he now tries to keep a safe distance as well as treats his shadow as an enemy, or some sort of obstacle which is to be overcome.
You're finished!
Don't mock me!
However, it seems as though when Riku is most desperate, his innermost rage awakens and grants him the power he needs to defeat his enemies. The game, despite its flaws, does an amazing job at also integrating this concept into the combat system and allows the player to also feel the same desire for power. Yet each time he has to resort to this, he is left feeling ever more guilty, and deep down feels that even if he did find his friends, he would no longer be able to face them. The recognition and unavoidable integration of the shadow creates such a harrowing situation that nobody but a savior can undo the tangled web of fate. It is here where Riku finds himself again at rock bottom and is ready to give up, and most likely would have if not for Naminé. In the case of the individual, the problem constellated by the shadow is answered in the plane of the anima, that is, through relatedness.
You won't fade. You can't fade. There's no power that can defeat you. Not the light, not the dark. So don't run from the light, and don't fear the darkness, because both will make you stronger.
Make me stronger? Darkness too?
Yeah, strength that's yours. The darkness inside your heart, it's vast and it's deep. But if you can, truly stare into it and never try to look away, you won't be afraid of anything again.
All this time I've tried, to push the darkness away.
You've gotta just remember to be brave. Know that the darkness is there and don't give in. If you do that, you will gain strength. The kind that's unlike any other. You'll be able to escape the deepest darkness.
And I'll be able to see through the brightest light.
Jung believes that the anima is an archetype nested within our shadow and has many roles, one of which is that it is our relating function to others, the world, and our own psyche. I believe that we can view Namine here symbolically as Riku's anima, whilst she guides him through the depths of his unconscious. She helps him realize that if he is able to accept both the good and bad within him, he will attain psychological wholeness and strength unlike any other. After this acceptance and integration, Riku is not only stronger physically, but is also now no longer hindered by his internal conflicts and has complete certainty of who he is and what he is fighting for.
What are you making me choose now?
Between the road to light and the road to darkness.
Neither suits me. I'm taking the middle road.
Do you mean the twilight road to nightfall?
No. It's the road to dawn.